In the golden age of Hollywood, the 80s and 90s, when camera flashes ruled the red carpets, some stars vanished from the spotlight, only to reappear in a place no one expected, Sudan, a land torn by war, hunger, and despair. They had everything: fame, fortune, power. So what made George Clooney, Angelina Jolie, Brad Pitt, and Mia Farrow abandon the glamour to step into a living hell? Behind those perfect smiles, were they hiding secrets the world was never meant to know? Tonight, with Broken Stars, we uncover the truth, the moment Hollywood came face to face with humanity's darkest shadows. George Clooney, a name synonymous with charm, sophistication, and roles that captivated audiences throughout the 90s. From ER, which launched him to television stardom, to Ocean's 11 and a string of Hollywood blockbusters, Clooney became more than a movie icon. He was the face of a generation. Yet behind the flawless smile and the glare of the spotlight, Clooney carried a different mission: Sudan. His trips to the war-torn, famine-stricken, and desperate region of Darfur were not for films or magazine covers. He went there for people, for justice, and to expose the dark secrets the world preferred to ignore. In Sudan, Clooney founded the Satellite Sentinel Project, using cutting-edge technology to monitor war crimes and reveal the horrors governments and media tried to hide. His courage turned a Hollywood star into a hero in the shadows, willing to risk fame and fortune to give a voice to the forgotten. And Clooney was far from alone. Many other stars of the 80s and 90s left the glitz of Hollywood to step into conflict zones few dared to enter. Who were they? Stay tuned to find out. Angelina Jolie, a Hollywood icon from the late 90s, famous for her powerful, unforgettable roles in Girl, Interrupted, and Tomb Raider. But behind the silver screen glamour, Jolie is one of the rare stars willing to leave the red carpet behind and step into real conflict zones where pain and despair are everywhere. Sudan. As a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador, she didn't just visit refugee camps. She met directly with women and children living amid war and hunger. She witnessed horrors the world often prefers to ignore and used her influence to call for international aid, shining a light on the suffering of millions of innocent people. The image of Jolie walking silently through the dust and despair reveals a side of a Hollywood superstar few know, not just beauty and fame, but courage and responsibility. And she is far from alone. Other stars, who once ruled the Hollywood spotlight, have also stepped into conflict zones, changing the world in their own extraordinary ways. Brad Pitt, a Hollywood icon of the 90s, known for his groundbreaking roles in Fight Club, Seven, and Legends of the Fall. But beyond the red carpet and the glitz of the silver screen, Pitt carried a deeper mission: Sudan. Alongside Angelina Jolie, he left the safety of Hollywood to step into Darfur, a land marked by war, famine, and injustice. Pitt didn't just visit refugee camps. He co-founded Not on Our Watch with George Clooney, using his voice and influence to shine a spotlight on the suffering of millions of innocent people. The image of Brad Pitt walking quietly through the dust and devastation, witnessing horrors the media often overlooks, proves that he is more than a Hollywood superstar. He is a man willing to sacrifice fame to bring hope to the forgotten. And like Clooney and Jolie, he paved the way for other Hollywood stars who dared to enter conflict zones. Mia Farrow, a Hollywood legend whose career peaked from the 70s through the 90s, known for iconic roles like Rosemary's Baby. But beyond the fame and silver screen acclaim, Farrow devoted herself to a mission few stars dare to face: Sudan. She traveled multiple times to Darfur, documenting the lives of refugees and the harrowing consequences of war. Farrow brought global attention to stories the world often chooses to ignore: children orphaned by conflict, families torn apart, and communities on the brink of collapse. Her work went far beyond charity appearances. She became a voice for the voiceless, using her fame to demand justice and action from international leaders. Seeing Mia Farrow walking quietly through refugee camps, witnessing horrors in the dust and despair, reminds us that Hollywood's brightest stars can shine not just on screen, but in the darkest corners of the world. And she is not alone. Others from the golden era of Hollywood have also risked fame and fortune to bring hope to those who need it most. Reese Witherspoon, rising to stardom in the late 90s with films like Cruel Intentions and Election, she quickly became one of Hollywood's brightest young icons. But beyond the glamour and awards, Witherspoon has also used her platform to shed light on stories that matter, including the struggles of refugees from Sudan. Though she didn't live in Sudan, Reese traveled to the region to work closely with Sudanese refugees, particularly through the making of The Good Lie. The film told the true story of young survivors of the lost boys of Sudan, and Reese's involvement went beyond acting. She met the real-life refugees, hearing their stories firsthand and helping bring international attention to their plight. Witherspoon's presence in Sudan, however brief, highlights a truth about Hollywood stars. Some are willing to step beyond the red carpet and into the harshest realities, using fame as a tool for awareness, empathy, and change. And like Clooney, Jolie, Pitt, and Farrow, she reminds the world that celebrity can be more than just lights and cameras. It can be a voice for the voiceless. Ryan Gosling, who rose to fame in the late 90s with roles in The Notebook and Remember the Titans, quickly became one of Hollywood's most admired young actors. But beyond the spotlight and red carpet appearances, Gosling has shown a commitment to global humanitarian issues, including the crisis in Sudan. Though not as prominently in the public eye for Sudan as some of his peers, Ryan traveled to the region as part of advocacy work with organizations like the Enough Project, helping raise awareness about the ongoing conflicts and the struggles of innocent civilians caught in war zones. Witnessing the human suffering firsthand, he used his influence to amplify stories the world might otherwise overlook. Ryan Gosling's involvement reminds us that even actors known for romance and drama on screen can step into the harshest realities of the world. Like Clooney, Jolie, Pitt, Farrow, and Witherspoon, he demonstrates that Hollywood stardom can be leveraged not just for fame, but to give a voice to the voiceless. Charlize Theron, rising to international fame in the late 90s with films like The Devil's Advocate and Monster, quickly became known not just for her talent, but for her striking presence on and off the screen. Yet beyond Hollywood glitz, Theron has stepped into some of the world's most dangerous and challenging regions, including Sudan, to advocate for women and children affected by conflict. Theron traveled to Sudan to witness firsthand the impact of war, supporting initiatives to protect vulnerable communities and amplify their stories to a global audience. Her commitment went far beyond photo ops and celebrity appearances. She immersed herself in the realities of those suffering, showing the world that fame can be used as a tool for awareness and change. Charlize Theron's courage in confronting the harshest human crises demonstrates that Hollywood stars can wield influence in ways that matter, echoing the paths of Clooney, Jolie, Pitt, Farrow, Witherspoon, and Gosling, shining a light on the forgotten and giving voice to the voiceless. Nicole Kidman, a Hollywood icon whose career soared in the 80s and 90s with films like Days of Thunder and Moulin Rouge, is renowned for her talent, elegance, and dedication to her craft. But beyond the glimmer of awards and red carpets, Kidman has also used her influence to address some of the world's most pressing humanitarian issues, including the crisis in Sudan. As a United Nations advocate for women and children, Kidman traveled to Sudan to witness the impact of war and conflict on vulnerable communities. She met families and children affected by violence, lending her voice and visibility to stories that often go unheard. Her work went beyond media appearances. It was a commitment to amplifying the plight of those living amid war, showing that celebrity can be a force for awareness, compassion, and change. Nicole Kidman's actions remind us that even the brightest stars of Hollywood can step into the world's darkest corners. Like Clooney, Jolie, Pitt, Farrow, Witherspoon, Gosling, and Theron, she proves that fame can be wielded not just for recognition, but to give a voice to the voiceless. Hollywood, a world of dazzling lights that can hide every shadow. Yet stars like Clooney, Jolie, Pitt, Farrow, Witherspoon, Gosling, Theron, and Kidman proved that fame is not a limit. They left the glamour behind, stepping into war-torn lands, facing true human suffering, and speaking out for the innocent who were forgotten. Their actions remind us that sometimes a star's greatest power isn't on the screen. It's a heart brave enough to shine light into the darkness.